this is where maybe a little bit of guilt comes in because I feel like, okie dokie. So, the last time I spoke about this on the channel, and I have to look at my channel analytics for this, was December 24th, 2024. So, Christmas Eve last year. And that video was kind of just me documenting the fact that I've indeed moved from the UK. I'm actually in Dubai right now. Okay, so I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about why me and my partner decided to move. And I want to talk about this because I've been a little bit torn this year. I've been very cognizant that I made that video in December, and just the content just continued. And I've been having a lot of people in the comment section talking about, well, you've moved to dodge tax and so on and so forth, which I can basically take on board as someone who creates financial content, that people may not necessarily um, see the other reasons behind a move like this. Or, and if you haven't even followed the channel for some time, you're new to the channel, see, well, he's talking about financial content, but yet you've moved to Dubai for tax avoidance reasons. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Being here, not paying tax is an attractive proposition, but it's not the only reason why we're here. And actually, it isn't and hasn't been and never was the deciding factor as to why we're here. And I'm thinking about doing a conversation two between me and my missus to really communicate this. But I want to talk about this in this video because I think one of the things that I realized from the past 5 years of having this channel is I've done a very poor job at bringing people in behind the scenes of what has happened over the past 5 years as a result of this channel. I'm a really private person, so sharing what I do on a day-to-day basis is a little alien to me. Even making that video in December was like, I felt like I had to make it because I didn't want to hide the fact that you were going to see differences in the channel this year from the environment that I'm in and the places where I might have to shoot videos because of time constraints and so on and so forth. I wanted to be open about that, but I realized that I haven't actually brought you on the journey beforehand for the move to actually make sense. And I kind of want to talk about that in this video because I've not spoken about it since that video on December 24th. I have moved to Dubai. This has been 4 years in the making. If I look back beyond that, the first time we came to Dubai was in 2016. So we've been coming here for almost 10 years now. We have friends here. It was one of the countries that surprised us when me and my partner first came here in 2016. I had the ideas, the preconceived notions that a lot of people have about the Middle East, around it being, yes, a Muslim country, being very, very strict, not having the freedoms that you would have or we have in the UK and in the Western world. And back then, I was pleasantly surprised to learn that actually I was wrong. We had a great time that first year in 2016, and we've been coming every single year for New Year's and Christmas ever since then. We met people here, and all of that time, we would come back to the UK, and in the January, heading back to work, almost kind of like miss this what we felt here, the experiences that we had here, how relaxed I felt. And that's probably one of the big things that, I've been doing this channel now since 2020. This is the fifth year. A lot has happened in the 5 years, and my natural nature is I'm a workaholic. I work consistently all the time because if I feel like if I'm not working, then I can't pay the bills. And this stems to childhood experiences, I guess, being fostered, being homeless, not never really feeling like when I was young, like I had a lot of control over my own environment because of circumstances and the fact that I got pulled to different locations really without any input or, I guess, choice. And so now that I'm an adult, it's like, and my partner will say this, I'm a little bit of a control freak to a certain degree. I don't agree, but she tells me this all the time. And a control freak in the fact that I try to plan for all contingencies. Is why I talk about money, because money, through my life experience, has always been this one thing that is being short. And one thing that I remember being the source of arguments in our household, being a personal pain point for me, being homeless, a personal pain point for me, having struggled with debt for 10 to 15 years and really kind of like experiencing the anxiety that you feel when that letter comes in the post and it's a debt collector, or you get phone calls from a withhold number and your heart starts to pound because you owe money and you're just trying to kind of avoid it, bury your head in the sand. And that's what happened to me all those years ago. I've been very, very fortunate through my career that I've been able to escape a lot of that. And not because I'm a know it all, but because as I went through kind of like a journey, I had some amazing people around me. Two people, if you followed any of my past story, two people really made a big difference in my life. And as I kind of got to the point where finances were an important topic to help me progress, buy a home, and all this kind of stuff, and finally get some security because I was once homeless, um, it became a topic that I became really, really passionate about, and I still am to this day. And so I'm very, very, I'm very, very, what's the right word? I'm very, very hot on the financial aspect of life because the truth is you need money to be able to do things like we've done here. And if you want to drive a nice car, wear a nice watch, live in a nice house, you want to have a comfortable retirement, you've got to make the right financial decisions to kind of help you get there. And my partner, bless her, she's the complete opposite to me. She her upbringing is kind of similar, but she has a very different outlook. And it's very interesting when you look at behavioral psychology. We know that financial habits are locked in at age of 7, but how they manifest later on in life are very, very different. She's the polar opposite to me. But the move here has been something that has been in the work for a very, very, very long time. We've had arguments about it. We've and ahed about it. And last year, everything just happened to fall in place. Truth be told, we should have moved in 2023. And the whole idea behind the move was my partner's a teacher, she'll get a job, and then that will facilitate me because I work online and I've got my own business to be able to move and do what I do here in the UAE from Dubai because I don't physically need to be in the UK. But in 2023, things just didn't work out. The school that she got a job in was just slow. And in the end, it took so long that she just took another year in another school where we lived in Shropshire. In 2024, it all just fell into place. We were here for Christmas. It was probably the best Christmas we had in Dubai. Met some people, had an amazing New Year's Eve. And she just applied for a job in the January, not even really thinking much about it. Got an interview about 3 weeks later. Job was in the bag in February. So we knew in February that we were going to be moving here in August. And for me, it was a bit of a shock. And I'm going to be completely honest with you here on the channel right now because the move here, for me, from a business point of view, now you may assume because my business is online that a decision like this is very, very easy to make. It actually isn't because really the crux of this channel so far has been built on financial education, looking at UK content specifically. And when I first started out, I didn't want to talk about American stuff, even though the audience in America is much, much bigger. It's easy to make a lot more money if you cater to the American audience. I wanted to keep it UK focused specifically. But with that being said, it means that by me moving out to Dubai, there's a certain risk of losing relevance and losing that immediate um, sense of atmosphere that you feel when a piece of news breaks and it impacts people in the UK. I feel far removed from that, and that's definitely something that I've noticed and I've definitely realized this year that when I hear news, I don't feel connected to that news because I'm here, and that I would say has definitely impacted the way I've maybe produced content this year and the way the channel's gone this year, for sure. There is also a bit of risk that I was also worried about that, this channel, for all intents and purposes, is free. I make money on AdSense. I don't make a lot of money on AdSense. Most of the money that I make is via brand collaborations. And that was being part of the plan when this channel was first launched back in 2020 to work with brands because these people are my peers. I've been in the industry for 18 years. So working with brands that, I have colleagues, former colleagues that work in these companies and I make new content, new contacts in these companies is really exciting. And something that I really kind of wanted, but moving here was a huge risk to that. And so, like, the channel, I feel like it's been in a little bit of flux. So I'm not really too sure what I'm going to do. Honestly, I just don't. And maybe this is where I need a little bit of input from you. This video is not scripted, obviously. I just felt like we need to talk about why I'm actually here. Now, if I were to get down to the crux of why we're here on my side, we're here because of the fact that we just wanted something different. Like I said, I'm a workaholic, and like my work routine back in the UK, I'd wake up in the morning, I'd be working all the way through to 12, 1, 2 p.m. in the morning most days, sleep deprived, and just not really thinking about, even to a certain extent, my own well being. Do I have the capacity to be able to continue at that kind of work rate? And the funny thing is, the channel started in 2020. It's been 5 years. This is the fifth year. And if I look back on it, I feel like everything's just merged into one kind of thing. There were only maybe a couple of events that stand out to me. Well, maybe three that stand out to me, but even two of those things are formed in one. The main port that really stands out to me that I remember vividly of all of this over the past 5 years is my book coming out in 2023. This is the first copy. Look at that! Oh my god. It's real. It's actually real. Oh my god, look at this. The first physical copy of my book. Wow. And this is a note from my editor. I'm so happy. I remember that because that was a big moment. It was on my dream board when I started the channel in 2020. I'd love to be able to publish a book and not self-publish, actually have a publisher put money behind me to help me share my story and the things that I picked up through just making so many mistakes with money myself. That is a standout point. The other standout point is, as a result of all of the book publicity, being able to do TV, stuff that I, again, was on my dream list to do, that somehow just happened, and I had a really, really good run at it. From sitting opposite Lorraine Kelly, I mean, I used to grow up watching her. To be on a sofa opposite her was mind blowing. And like, when you look from the outside in, it might feel like it's easy, but it's not. Like, that was a really pivotal moment. Then doing Steph's Pack Lunch and all the stuff that I'd done on Channel 5 and some of the other channels, those are the only two things that stand out to me in the last 5 years, because everything is just meshed into one. Because for me, work ethic and the fact that I don't want to be homeless is one of my biggest fears. And yes, I'm far beyond that right now, but it's still one of those fears. I was listening to Will Smith speak about his fear of losing it all, because I don't know if you know his story, but when he was first cast for Fresh Prince of Bel Air, he lost everything to the point where they took his house, and he still says today, till this day, that that's one of his biggest fears. And I'm nowhere near the level of Will Smith, but I think from a human point of view and human conditioning, we all have those fundamental fears that drive our personalities, our work ethic, just the way we're built as people. And that's one of my biggest fears. And so moving here was all about trying to get a bit of a balance in life. And I'm kind of glad to say that I kind of have that now, to be honest. And that's really one of the big positives. I'm documenting this journey on a second channel, which I kind of mentioned, I think, in that video on December 24th last year, just documenting the journey and documenting the experience here. And one of my big fears, again, was obviously the business. But when I really kind of like sat down to look at the business this year, I'm actually up, but I've worked a lot less. And it's weird because in my head, I was like, I felt as though the business was failing. I felt as though things weren't going as well as I had wanted them to be, because I wasn't working as much. And taking a step back and just looking at the numbers and then looking at my routine now, I feel so much better. And if there's any point that you take from this video, it would be this. Sometimes you have to step out of the logical train of thought that we often have to try and maybe capture something that you need, but it's a difficult decision to take to get there. Like there's so much uncertainty. We planned for 4 years to get here. And during that 4 years, again, because I'm all about the money and my mind thinks about the financial side of things, I worked my ass off to basically stack as much cash to make this move happen. And the move here has not been smooth sailing. There has been some real stress over the past 2 months. We've come out the other side of it now. And this is probably where I will get my missus to kind of talk about this on her side. And this will be the first time, if she does agree to do it, that you would even see her on the channel. Again, because I'm not really good at sharing the personal side of my life beyond this channel, right? And if I think about the channel itself, I enjoy the content that I create, but at the same time, I'm not enjoying the content I'm creating as well, purely because there are so many. I feel like I'm in an echo chamber of regurgitating some of the same old stuff. And I was watching something earlier today talking about, sharing your journey, sharing your story. And I've failed woefully at that. And, probably no one's ever going to watch this. And people probably won't watch this. But I feel like maybe this is something that I need to add into the channel because my journey is no different to many people's journey who perhaps watch the channel and have come from different walks of life. I think most of us have a similar theme that runs through our lives: some form of hardship, definitely a lack of financial education. And fundamentally, what we all want is to just be able to live life on our own terms and attain our version of financial freedom. I'm lucky to say that I've attained that. And whilst, yeah, the videos are great with the how to's and the commentary and stuff, I don't know, I feel like maybe the personal journey and my own personal thoughts, the things that I struggle with, maybe are missing and have been missing from the channel. I still need to figure out how I would even do that on the channel because honestly, I do not know. Um, but I don't know. This is just a chat. This is just a conversation, I suppose. Um, I'm glad we moved here, and even though I was going to say that the business has suffered, it really hasn't suffered at all. There's a lot of uncertainty still, definitely for sure. But that uncertainty was the same when I was back home because you never really know what brands want to work with you and what brands don't want to work with you. You rely on repeat business and relationships you've built over the course of time. And I've been doing this now for the fifth year. This is my fifth year. I'd like to think that I've got relationships with brands that do want to work with me. But ultimately, none of that really matters without the audience and you guys watching the videos and finding the channel actually something of use that you can take to better your own journey. And this is where maybe a little bit of guilt comes in because I feel like this past 5 years I've been working my ass off trying to make videos and educate, that maybe I haven't shown how this entire process has helped me better my own journey. And again, that's what I kind of want to maybe change on the channel. Like I said, if there's anything you're going to take from this, like, I think life's hard, mate. Life is hard. It's full of tough decisions, difficult balances to try and strike, people to please, people that you need to obviously have in consideration. But there's nothing more empowering than doing what you know is right in your heart for your circumstances. I've got a lot of stick from people saying that I'm here to dodge taxes and all this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, the tax element of being here is fantastic, but the lifestyle, and like I got this literally yesterday, I'm now starting to think more about my well-being, my physical well-being. If you follow me on Instagram for any number of years, you will know that I had a situation with my lungs, and that was a byproduct of me being injured and going to work and ignoring my physical health. And I'm now in a space where I don't feel like it has to be work, work, work all the time. I feel so much better in myself, and I would not be able to get that back home. I just wouldn't. There is a cost to this. It's not cheap. It has not been cheap. It's been difficult. It's been stressful. But that's no different to any decision that we all have to make in life anyway. So if you are watching this and you're struggling with any, I guess, personal big decision that you're trying to make, and you know that there is a difficult decision, but on the other side, you believe you're going to be better off, then I just want to encourage you, make the hard decision, because what's on the other side is worth it. I don't know how long we're going to be here for. You know, I set up a business here. I've got a 2-year residency. We want to buy a place out here. We don't know how it's going to go. We may stay, we may come back to the UK. We'll see what happens. But for right now, in this moment, I am so pleased that we moved here. And I just want to encourage you to make a tough decision today if you have one that you need to make. Because again, what's on the other side is very much worthwhile.